Hello, it's great to be speaking at Serials Live 2020. I'm just really sorry that it's via a slightly clunky computer connection and not in real life, and I'm really looking forward to working with you all in the future. I know very well that this has been a difficult time for agricultural communities, and I'd like to thank all of you, the food heroes who have fed the nation throughout this pandemic. In DEFRA, we've been working with farmers and producers and across government to make sure that we have the right measures in place so that people can access the food that they need. I come from a farming background, and I know that all parts of the supply chain need to work in order to keep food moving from farm to fork. This pandemic has been very challenging for everyone, but we hope that the measures we put in place have eased the pressure on farmers. To help with your cash flow, we've just issued bridging payments to more than 3,800 of you for the 2019 Countryside Stewardship and Environmental Stewardship schemes. These should be worth around £43 million to rural businesses. We've extended the window to submit applications for Basic Payment Scheme and claims for CS and ES schemes by a month. I understand how important the payments for these schemes are to all, so I would urge you to get your application claims into the RPA before the window closes on the 15th of June. Any new applicants for the Countryside Stewardship Scheme have to be in, any new applications have to be in by the 31st of July in order to be processed. We've also extended the deadline until the end of July for submitting claims to the Countryside Productivity Small Grant Scheme. Where it hasn't been possible to carry out on-site inspections, we've allowed claims to be paid based on other suitable forms of evidence. As we hope we move into the recovery phase, we remain in regular contacts with colleagues across agriculture and the farming charities. We're monitoring the markets very closely, and we hope that we're ready to respond to emerging issues quickly and efficiently. While coronavirus is still here, it's very important that we all do our bit to keep ourselves and others safe. To help you with this, the government's issued guidelines for people who work outdoors. Detailed information on social distancing and other mitigating actions can be found on the gov.uk pages. Cautiously, we are starting very much to look ahead again. Our national food strategy will look at the way the whole chain works together to produce the food that we need. The agriculture bill's on its way, I hope, to royal assent, and it's been a privilege for me as the new minister to take it through the House of Commons, in partnership, of course, with my predecessor and now Secretary of State, George Eustace. The Ag Bill provides us with the opportunity to strengthen links between food production and environmental protection, and this should allow us to safeguard our countryside and farming communities for the future. The bill also legislates for a food security report, which will be a real in-depth analysis, which should, I hope, allow us to plan strategically for our food security. We, of course, don't grow all of the food that we eat here, and many crops like soya are not well suited to our climate. Imports are clearly vital to our food security. It's in everybody's interests that we secure a good trade deal with the EU and other countries, of course, around the world. Any future trade deals must work for our consumers, but also for our farmers. In all of our trade negotiations, we will not compromise on our high environmental, animal welfare, or food standards in any way. And we've made that a manifesto commitment. The Prime Minister has repeated it many times, and it's something we're completely committed to. The level of interest and debate on this subject has shown how important food security and food standards are to the general public. And I think that's been one of the heartening takeouts from this pandemic. People are, helpfully, I think, to the farming industry, slightly more aware of where their food comes from and how it's produced. I think it's time to move to a new and exciting place in British agriculture. Having said that, we know it's been a very, very tough year for cereal farmers, with dreadful widespread flooding last autumn and winter, then of course the pandemic, and now a period of extended dry weather to contend with. The farming community asked us to relax CAP rules around crop diversification, the greening rules, because of the extreme wet weather at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. I'm pleased to say that I brought the statutory instrument to the House yesterday, and it was agreed that we can relax the 3-crop rule for farmers for this year, for 2020. We also provided £6 million through the Farming Recovery Fund to support those who were very badly affected by flooding. We're also beginning to simplify EU legacy processes around direct payments, so that I hope the money will reach you more promptly and be easier to apply for. With the Ag Bill making progress, it's time for us now to really focus about the details of our new agricultural policy. ELM, as it's known, will pay public money for the provision of environmental public goods. The public goods include clean and plentiful water, clean air, thriving plants and wildlife, a reduction in and protection from environmental hazards, beauty, heritage and engagement with the environment, and mitigation of and adaptation to climate change. We're envisaging 3 key components of ELM. There'll be a sustainable farming incentive. This will be open to any farmer, and quite frankly, the more who take it up, the better. And we will make sure it is worthwhile to take part. That means things like integrated pest management, sensitive management of hedgerows, and ways to maintain soil health will all be rewarded. Secondly, there'll be a local environmental tier. This will provide incentives for interventions such as habitat creation, improving biodiversity, tree planting, and natural flood management. And finally, there'll be a larger landscape scale tier to support woodland creation, peatland restoration, and other potential changes to land use. I recognise that change is unsettling and often frightening for us all, and it will take time. We've set a realistic timescale of 7 years to complete this journey from the legacy of CAP to our new policy. We want this to be an orderly transition. We'll be paying very close attention to the sequencing of different interventions and changes to make sure we get this right. The Countryside Stewardship Scheme will, I hope, provide a stepping stone to the future. We've simplified the rules so that if you're already signed up to a CS agreement, you can transfer to join ELM when that's up and running in 2024. We are trying to make it as seamless as possible. And we need to encourage new entrants to the profession. The government's working with industry bodies to improve access to the talent and skills required within the industry. The Food and Drink Sector Council feels this strongly too, and has established a workforce and skills group to develop a long-term action plan for a world-class workforce for all sectors of the food chain, including agriculture. We'll also offer financial assistance to enable farmers, foresters and growers to invest in the equipment, technology and infrastructure they need to improve their productivity, which in turn will help them manage the environment more sustainably, as well as delivering other public goods. All in all, we will need your input throughout the process, but we're designing a system that is not just for the farmers of today, but also for the farmers of tomorrow.